Hey everybody, you're now wrapping up this last section of midweek worship as we talk about human capacity, and I'm going to get very real and very honest with you on this episode. Hey, thank you for joining us. We're Two Cities Church. My name is Jeff. And if you found our broadcast for the first time, if you look below me in the notes to this post, you'll see a link to a video which will tell you more about our church. It'll tell you more about why we started doing midweek broadcasts a long time ago. I told you in this episode that we're going to get real. Let me explain where we've been before I tell you what we're going to do today. We started looking at a theological topic called human capacity. These are the gifts that God gives humans that separate us from all of the rest of the creation out there. Look, there's a lot of similarities between us and monkeys and between the conversations between dolphins and humans. There's a lot of things that are similar between humans and other parts of creation. But there's a few things that's different. We talked about human reason. We talked about human emotion, and today we're going to talk about the will. And in this discussion today on the human will, we're going to look at a Bible verse from Ecclesiastes. But basically, when I use the word will, it's not just something that you think about. It's not even something that you desire. The will is basically why you do what you do. And I got a really good question for you when this broadcast ends tonight. But before we get into the Bible, before we get into this good question, before I give you a little bit of background and some theology tonight, why don't we just set our will, see what I just did there, on Jesus by singing a song to Him. Our friends from South Africa, Pete and Alicia, are going to lead us in a song. The words are right there on the screen. Why don't you go ahead and sing along with them? And then after this song, we'll talk about Ecclesiastes. Sing along, will you?
You know when I come and when I go, never leaving me alone. You're the God who doesn't look away. This is who you are. You fill pages of our story, keeping record of our songs, holding tears from every season. This is who you are. And I got a history of thanks. I've got a future filled with praise just for you. Just for you. I got a history of thanks. I got a future filled with praise. It's just for you. You're the depth in every detail. You're the author of the skies. Who you are. with praise for you. And we say thank you. We say thank you. We say thank you for all you've done and all you'll do. We say thank you. We say thank you. We say thank you for all you've done and all you'll do. We say thank you. We say thank you. We say thank you for all you've done and all you'll do. We say thank you. We say thank you. We say thank you for all you've done. Oh, and I've got a history of thanks. I've got a future filled with praise just for you. It's just for you, Jesus. I got a history of thanks. I've got a future filled with praise just for you. It's just for you, Jesus. For everything you've done and everything you'll do. We say thank you. We say thank you for everything you've done and everything you'll do. We say thank you.
Now that you've started to focus your attention, your affection, your will on Jesus, let's talk about Ecclesiastes. There's a book in the Old Testament called Ecclesiastes, written by what the Bible describes the second wisest man that ever lived. Literally, the wisest man, of course, is going to be Jesus. But when the Bible talks about Solomon, it calls him, nobody was wise like him that's ever lived before him, and probably will not be anybody in history after him that was wise like Solomon. Solomon wrote a bunch of little proverbs in the Bible, these wise sayings that we should live our life by. Solomon wrote a book in the Bible called the Song of Solomon, where he describes love, the love between a man and a woman. It's a beautiful book of the Bible. And then Solomon writes this book called Ecclesiastes. And in this book, he just deals honestly with how life is, and not how life should be, but how life is. In Ecclesiastes chapter 7, Solomon makes this fascinating statement about the human will. And as I told you at the beginning, I'm just going to get real with you in just a second. So I'm going to put a verse on the screen, and I'd like for our entire church and everybody connected with us to commit this Bible verse to memory. It comes from Ecclesiastes chapter 7, and it's verse 29. And here's what the wise Solomon says. See, this alone I found, that God made man upright. That word upright means good or holy or righteous. That God made man upright, but that they have sought out many schemes. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 29. Now, you've heard the backstory about why this book exists. You've heard a little bit of information about who Solomon is, but I want to describe this verse in a little bit more detail. He's saying God originally created Adam and Eve to be pure and holy and without error or without sin. And then they were tempted, and they gave in to that temptation, and they broke this pure, holy, beautiful vessel that God created. And ever since that moment, every child that's ever come from Adam and Eve that came born of a woman has been broken by sin. So Solomon is saying God originally created humans to be perfect. And then we started following our own schemes. Isn't that word scheme fascinating to you? Because basically what that word is saying is that you have a will, I have a will, and our will doesn't always line up with God's will. In fact, sometimes we don't do what we know we should do because we don't want to. And even in our hearts, we know we should want to do it, but we don't want to do it, so we just don't do it. One of the greatest spiritual men in the New Testament, the Apostle Paul, even made that statement when he said, the things that I know I should do, I don't do those. And the things that I know I shouldn't do, I do those things. And then he uses this phrase, oh, what a wretched or what a terrible man I am. Well, now let me just get honest with you. The human will is the thing that pulls us to do something. It's kind of desire attached with ability. So we see good and we have the ability to do good, and our will wants to do good, and so we do good. Or we see wrong and we know we have the ability to do wrong. We look around and we know that nobody else is watching, and our will wants to do wrong. And even in the back of our mind, we know it's wrong. We do it anyway. And I think getting the will under control, if I can be totally honest with you right now, is the single greatest struggle in my life. It's the one thing that I have been working on for my entire life. And some days it feels like I haven't made a whole lot of progress at all. That my will is still heading towards doing things that I know I shouldn't do. I sometimes still will to do the things that I don't want to do, that I know I should want to do. And I'm being real, I'm being honest with you, so that I can put a question on the screen and ask you to be real and be honest when we get ready to end this broadcast. This question is designed to start conversation. It's not supposed to be a very short answer, but it's supposed to develop a conversation that you can have after this broadcast ends. So I'm going to put it on the screens, and then after I ask you this question, we're going to end this broadcast. And I'd love for you to talk about it with a friend, talk about it as a family tonight. Here's the question. What is the difference between want, notice the quotes, and will? In your own heart, what's the difference between wanting to do something or wanting something, and the will to do something, or the will to go after that thing that you want? I want you to just get real and get honest, because I think what you're going to find is there's something broken about our will, and we all need Jesus to come back and to fix what's broken so that we will to do what we know we're supposed to want to do. Thanks for joining me for this week. See you back here next week as we start an entirely new topic. Thanks for joining us.